Hello friends. Today I am going to discuss very important topic for undergraduate, postgraduate and students who are looking for various higher education exams like NET, SLET and other competitive exams. So before comments, I request everyone please do subscribe, like, comment and don't forget to share. So let's begin. So friends, topic that I have chosen for today's discussion is Renaissance. The term Renaissance is a French word. Literally means rebirth or revival. As you know, there was a shift from Middle Age to modern. And during the Middle Age, society was theocentric. Theocentric means God was the center of universe. But when Renaissance took place, society became geocentric. Geocentric means man became the center of universe. So when society became geocentric, writers they started to write about man and his local affairs. And Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, Machiavelli, Desiderius Erasmus, so many writers, we have a long list of the Renaissance writers, they started to talk about man and his saga. Historians locate that the period of Renaissance from mid 15th century to early 17th century first reached in Italy, then France, Spain, and finally in all over Europe. When it reached to Europe, it was 16th century, and 16th century was a golden era of Renaissance. In 16th century, Renaissance was in full swing. Renaissance reached in England, it became cultural and intellectual movement. The capture of the Constantinople in 1453 by the Turks resulted the flight of Greek and Roman scholars with their manuscripts to European countries. Now, with this event, interest in classical and Latin classics was revived. And it also led an avid interest in man and his local affairs, that is, the humanism. Now, this revival of learning, this revival of ancient learning is called Renaissance. Greek and Latin classics came to be regarded as a storehouse of ancient wisdom. And because of this thing, all the great Greek and Roman writers, critics, philosophers became popular. Now friends, it's time to discuss some important characteristics of the Renaissance, like humanism, Hellenism, individualism, geographical discoveries, love of beauty, love of success, love of wealth, and a sense of awe and wonder. Hellenism is also very, humanism and Hellenism, these two things are very important. Humanism, because writers they started to glorify man and his saga in their works. Hellenism means love of Greek literature. Writers they borrowed so many stories from Greek mythology. So there was a Greco-Roman tradition was established. So these are some characteristics of Renaissance. Now I am going to discuss some important representative writers and their works. I begin with Elizabeth Carey. She was born in Oxford, England, a voracious reader wrote the tragedy of Mariam. The play is celebrated as the first play written by a woman writer. The play recounts the story of King Herod's cruelty towards his wife. Mariam is a tragic figure torn between a good wife and a despising her husband for the murder of her grandfather and brother. Writer points Mariam as a martyr, as a strong woman living with the corruption and sin of her husband. The play is a closet drama. Another important Renaissance writer is Miguel de Cervantes. Miguel de Cervantes is a Spanish writer, wrote very famous, very influential work Don Quixote in two parts. The story details the misadventure of an old man who has gone mad from reading too many chivalric romances. Chivalric romance is a form of medieval literature that was popular during the Cervantes time. The old man idolizes everything he sees humorously. So at the end of the chivalric, at the end of the novel, the old man Quixote comes to his senses and denounces all his chivalric ideals before he dies. The novel depicts the Renaissance view of favoring realism over idealism. The novel also has credited to influence the development of modern novel and the first novel and was also a first Spanish picaresque novel. The novel inspired the term quixotic, meaning pursuit of foolish ideals, which is still used in 21st century. Another noted Renaissance figure is Michel de Montaigne. Michel de Montaigne, a French essayist, wrote collection of inquiries, which known as the Essays, published in 1518. He was the creator of modern literary essays. In these essays, Montaigne used to explore the limits of his own human experiences and which was the dominant idea of the humanism. And his influence we clearly found in Bacon and Shakespeare. Next important writer is Erasmus. He wrote mainly in Latin, but he had a tremendous influence on Renaissance humanist. His important work, The Praise of Folly, attacked the evils of the church, the evils of the religion, and the evils of the society. So the praise of folly is the masterpiece of Erasmus. Another important writer, Niccolo Machiavelli. He was an noted Italian political thinker. His magnum opus is The Prince, which was published in 1532. Then another important writer, Sir Thomas More, very famous for his masterpiece Utopia, which was published in 1516. The book has two parts. The first part is a critique of the social and political problems, and the second part describes life in idealistic fictional society called Utopia. So More Utopia is also famous as a true prologue of the Renaissance. Another important figure is Christopher Marlowe, a noted university wit. His masterpiece play is Dr. Faustus. Dr. Faustus an old medieval legend, but Christopher Marlowe given a wonderful Renaissance color to this tragic hero. He was also famous as a rapturous lyricist of the limitless Renaissance ambition. Then we have another writer like Shakespeare and Francis Bacon. Shakespeare, he was famous for his masterpiece Renaissance tragedy Hamlet. And in Hamlet, we have so many important speeches which denote the important characteristics of the Renaissance, like what a piece of work is man, how finite in nature, how finite in faculty. In Tempest, there was a very famous speech, how beauteous mankind is, O brave new world. Francis Bacon, he was another important noted Renaissance humanist. His masterpiece, he was famous for his essays, Bacon's essays, and his essays are the storehouse of the practical wisdom. He is famous as a anti-Ciceronian Senecan prose writer. He was famous for his aphoristic style. So, dear friends, these are some representative writers and their representative Renaissance works. So, hope you all enlightened with these important information, and now I am looking forward to your valuable comments. Goodbye everyone. See you in the next video.